So everything we did was done purely for Fox's welfare. Filming came very much secondary to that. But by planning far enough ahead, we could get the shots that you needed to get without disturbing the fox. Working with James and Edward on All Quiet, we approached that differently because we approached it narratively. The emotion was the leader for that, and every conversation we had came back to that. So it was less about just capturing some behaviour and then in the edit later on making something of that, and it was instead shooting to the storyboards that Edward had because he knew that was the way to draw the audience in emotionally in the early part of the film. So we had to capture the shots that would give Edward that emotional key. So it was driven more by that than anything else. Technically, how we worked at it was an awful lot of planning. The sets were built many months in advance, and we duplicated the set, so we had 2 of everything in case one of our foxes were to not give birth or were not to get pregnant, because we weren't to know, working with wild animals. So it was, there was a lot of planning and also a lot of chance, but you risk assess the chance to kind of load everything in your favour. So yeah, it was driven narratively, and then it was probably getting on for 6 months worth of planning during the pandemic, because the sets had to be built and lit before the foxes could be introduced, because the foxes had to be introduced to the fox dens, and they had to make it their home. So they had to not be stressed. It was their home. So it was for them, everything was normal. There was no, there could be no sort of peculiarities or oddities, and you certainly couldn't introduce the fox at the 11th hour to a set and just plonk it in there and go, please now give birth and be happy. So the pregnant mums were put into our sets many months before. It was their home. So the birthing was done in a natural environment for them. We introduced the kit into the set before, so they had a chance to get used to the camera slider. They had to get a chance to get used to anything else that was brought in. It wasn't just brought in suddenly. So it was a very kind of gentle process. Lighting-wise was really important as well. So the lighting had to be designed and built into the set when the set was built. So we're talking many, many months before filming. So when it actually came to filming, we weren't able to change the lighting. And that's with good reason, because what you don't want to do is suddenly turn up in someone's home and start turning on a bunch of bright lights and saying, now please can you not be affected by this and have your cubs. So I planned the lighting beforehand. It was all LED based, so that we could keep it cool. And it was DMX based, so that I actually had a lot of flexibility. So both sets had identical lights and everything was on DMX, so that I could, for example, turn on the lights very slowly over an hour, but that could be automated. So again, you're not just going to work and flicking the lights on. You could fade the lights up over a period of time, for example, an hour, before you filmed, so that the vixen had a chance to get used to the changing of the lights, for example. So it was everything we did was done purely for Fox's welfare. Filming came very much secondary to that, but by planning far enough ahead, we could get the shots that you needed to get without disturbing the fox.